Calvin Coolidge sworn in as 30th President of the United States. The name Art Deco was first used, and New York City becomes the largest city in the world, taking the title from London, England. The year is 1925, and this Detroit Electric could be seen on the streets of Detroit. But before getting into all of it, I'm Jay. Welcome to What It's Like, the automotive channel that takes the time to cover the cars that frankly are being forgotten. We cover the classics, vintage, some exotics. This channel, we love the orphan cars and car brands that you may have never heard of. History, specs, and design of these rolling works of art. If that sounds of interest, a channel that you will totally dig, subscribe and hit the bell icon next to it to never miss a video. I found this 1925 Detroit Electric on the judging green at Greenfield Village. It was part of the Old Car Festival, which is a pre-war car show at the Greenfield Village in Dearborn, Michigan, right next to the Henry Ford. All of the cars are before 1932, unmodified, and they drive them around in the streets. Not only that, they're in a period correct town. Lots of people dressed period correct. So it's almost like going back in time for a weekend, which was really great. I honestly can't say enough good things about that car show, and honestly, it's probably my favorite car show this side of the Mississippi. It's honestly what the car hobby should be about. It should be about sharing your rides and experiences with everybody, and that's what that show is. You can experience those cars for what they were. A lot of people will say that those cars are going away, but that's not true. People are still keeping them, and I saw lots of kids, people younger than me, driving cars older than both of us. For those that may have never heard of the Greenfield Village, this is what it is. Henry Ford, you can think whatever you want of the guy, but he saw that what was happening to stuff, it was just getting destroyed and lost to time. So he decided to save a couple things. The village is almost 100 buildings on 200 acres. Most of the buildings are the actual buildings, like the Wright Brothers bicycle shop. William C. Anderson started building buggies and carriages in 1884 in Port Huron, Michigan. William started to take notice that a large amount of carriages and buggies were going to Detroit, which was about 60 miles south of Port Huron. Anderson, with two Michigan businessmen, William A. Pungs and William M. Locke, formed the Anderson Carriage Company in 1895, establishing a plant at the intersection of Clay and Riopelle Street, a couple blocks west of the Cadillac plant. It's important to note, don't get this confused with Anderson Carriage Manufacturing Company in Indiana. These are two totally different companies. In the early 1900s, Anderson started building a few automobile bodies for local manufacturers. Then he began contemplating making his own car. People think electric is new, but it's not. The turn of the last century, they had many different means of propulsion. The three most common were steam, gas, and electric. Anderson decided to go with electric. With Anderson being a very common name, they decided to call it Detroit Electric, and would be the most popular and long-lived electric car sold in the United States. It's important to note, wasn't the only electric car sold in the United States. There was tons of electric companies such as Baker Electric, Melbourne, Studebaker, Rauch and Lang. The first Detroit electric car appeared in 1907, and then their first closed cab car appeared in 1908. Detroit Electric established a reputation for easy-to-drive, well-built cars. In 1909, Anderson bought Elwell Parker Company, which was the company that made electric motors for his cars, so he would have a steady stream of motors coming in without supply chain issues. Detroit Electric would be in business from 1909 to 1939, and they built 12,690 cars, of which 1,450 cars were built after 1920. From 1932 to 1939, they only built 15 cars, and by 1939, the company would be dissolved. You have to remember, these cars were mostly sold to women drivers, doctors, physicians, who wanted a dependable means of transportation with immediate start without getting outside to crank the car every time they wanted to start it and risk a backfire resulting in broken hand or thumb. Also, with the advent of the electric starter and the internal combustion engine becoming more and more affordable with each passing year, these electric cars started to drop out of favor. Let's talk 1925 Detroit Electric. Only one model was available in 1925, the 95 brougham. Let's talk specs. 159 inches long, 65 inches wide, 71 inches tall. It rides a wheelbase of 100 inches. It weighs around 2,570 pounds. Price around $3,000, which is equivalent to you spending $52,404.17 in the year 2023. Total 1925 production was 48 units, of which only 3 are known to survive. Moving on to engine. The engine is an 8 horsepower electric motor, 14 batteries, 7 in the front, 7 in the rear, 80 miles per charge. Top speed is anywhere between 20 to 25 miles per hour. These were perfect city cars. Let's talk styling. Look at the bumpers. Notice there are 2 bars connected right here. Nice crest here and another right there. Look at how they're mounted. Look at these lights. Look at these fenders. Notice how this part comes down, this part rises up, and then there's this nice raised section right there. Beautiful Detroit Electric there in the center. Notice this thing does not have a motometer or a mascot because you don't really need it. You can't really see the hood when you're going down the road in this thing. Look at the front suspension. This one has cowl lights. Just look at all this design. Curved glass. This one does have a bit of a sun visor, 1 windshield wiper, and this does open, this windshield. Check out the door handle. Get the pinstriping. Handle to get in. This is a 1925 Detroit Electric. Over here, this one's a little bit older and it's a little bit taller. They modified the roof to give it more of a streamlined design.
What year is that? 1925 Detroit Electric.
Oh! Yeah, well, Edison still owns one, but it's in terrible. Yeah. It would be nice to make it run.
How about that? So you got storage and the batteries are
And
underneath?
the batteries, yeah.
Cool.
Look at the batteries in it for the electric car.
So, basically modern batteries.
Yeah. It's like a golf cart.
Yeah. Oh, it's a golf cart battery, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
And we have the same charger in ours that Jack has in his.
Sweet. On to the button switches and knobs, starting in the center, clock at the top. Then there is an amp meter off to the left-hand side that shows amps being consumed. Speedometer in the center with odometer and tripometer next to it. On the right-hand side, that is a volt showing you how many volts you have left. At the bottom, there is another gauge. That red dial keeps track of how many amps you used when you drive. So it's almost like an energy use gauge.
Anybody coming, Bill? Bill, is there anybody coming?
No one coming, no. But I'll add the caveat, if you wait long enough, somebody will come.
Well, this guy's coming over here.
Yeah. Now there's nobody coming, but again, there's somebody who's going to come.
Okay. Now I'm going to go in reverse one more time. Okay. So right now I'm in first position, second position, third. So right now the batteries are all still in parallel. That's a pretty car.
I think I like the one with the hard top. It seems a little bit claustrophobic.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
though it's like, you know, it's...
Well, they cut them down starting the mid 20s so they could fit in a more normal garage.
I got you.
This Robin's car, fortunately we have a 7.5 foot tall garage doors.
Wow.
It's not a car that fits in normal garages. This one does.
But the greenhouse is incredible in here because all the
Well, you can
glass.
see everything. The curved glass is fantastic. There's just a lot of wonderful features about a car like this. You can see everything. And because you're only going 22, when you're going down the road, unless you're in heavy traffic, you get to look around. You know, when you're in a modern car today, you're not. You got to concentrate on what you're doing, and to be able to go slowly and look around is just a blast. We're gonna go that way. We're going that way. Thank you. So this is third, fourth, fifth. So you can feel the jump between fourth, third, and fourth, and that's because. Hello, Steve. So when you're 1, 2, and 3, you're in parallel, which is using the 3 or the batteries in the back. When you go to fourth and fifth, you're jumping into parallel where the front batteries kick in, and so you get more power.
It's so smooth.
Well, you saw how many people were walking up in front of us. I lost
Well,
count.
they can't hear you coming.
No, I lost count yesterday of 5 people. They just walked right in front. How many after that? This guy's starting to go.
Oh, this is good.
This lady doesn't know we're here.
Give no kids.
So you drive this around your hometown?
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. You use it. As far as maintenance goes, just charge the batteries,
Yeah.
grease everything.
Yeah, you don't have to grease them that often because we probably don't even drive 100 miles a year. Obviously, we don't have any oil to change, although we did a couple of years ago. When we got the first car, we put new grease in the axle. They had the wrong grease in to begin with. And then when we had it in the shop last fall for some brake work, they figured it'd been 10 years, so 11 years. So they changed the grease in the rear axle. They probably didn't have to. And look at that. See, there they go. There they go.
Does this one have a bell and a horn, just like the other one?
No, this one doesn't have a bell. This one only has the horn. And it's actually a different Claxton horn than the other cars. So they're two different sounds. You know, I don't know if it's because that's how somebody ordered it, or you know, somebody changed it at one point. Who knows? So I'm going to go full speed here. So 4, 5.
It was nice while it lasted. Like, look, we're racing the train. Did you drive this around last night during the parade?
It's a night right? Yes, we're for the most part following each other. We missed each other at one point, but it was also common at that in the 20s that the ladies would ride with the dome light on.
Oh, nice.
But what I did find was that there was a lot of glare coming back from the window, so I eventually had to turn the dome light off. It wasn't quite 1925 authentic, but it was enough to drive around and have fun. We did probably 4 laps around, and it really is that is a nice feature that they put in place a few years ago.
It makes it, because like there's different lamps here. They're not all the same.
Well, and you can always tell the guys that aren't familiar with the proper way to light a acetylene lamp because they have no eyebrows. So with acetylene, if you see any acetylene tanks, so they open up the tank and they put in water and they drop in the acetylene rock and then close the tank and lock it, and that pressurizes and it creates acetylene. And then the acetylene goes through the pipes going up to the lamps, and then they open up the lamps and light it. Well, you're going to get flashback in your face. So when they open the lamp, what they're supposed to do is blow into it so that you're only lighting the gas that's coming out, not the gas that accumulated in there. So if you're going to light the gas that's accumulating in there, it's going to flash back right into your face, and you're not going to have any eyebrows. Because it's just so much fun.
Right.
It's just the greatest show.
I always thought Hershey was the best show this side of the Mississippi. I never knew about this one. This one's my new favorite.
Well, the thing about Hershey, or the thing about Motor Muster is 1933 to 1975, and that's in June here. Muscle cars cannot go slow in these types of things.
Right.
So they park them, you have to sit there. This show, they encourage us to drive around because they want people to see that these cars are mobile.
So how big is the motor, or like how much horsepower is the motor?
This?
Yeah.
8.
8 horsepower?
Yeah.
What material is the seats and the door panels made out of?
I'm sure that this material is not original.
On the positive side, silk smooth performance as well as ride, 5-speed settings. The cab is like driving in your living room if your living room was a fishbowl with all the curved glass. Quiet, room for 4, the front seat swivel. Rare, historically significant. Against it, expensive if and when you can find them, and a lot of times it's just parts and pieces that are found. You can ask Leno. Range isn't that great. It takes a while to charge. There isn't that much storage space. Non-existent. These are like ghosts in a sense. All right, now it's time for Would You Rather. 2 scenarios today. Would you rather have a 1925 Stanley Steamer or a 1925 Detroit Electric or a 1925 Franklin? I'm going to leave this here for a minute. If you need more time, feel free, pause the video. Now it's time for the second scenario. Would you rather have a 1922 Detroit Electric Model 82 or a 1925 Detroit Electric Model 95B or a 1939 Detroit Electric? I'm going to leave this here for a minute. If you need more time, feel free, pause the video. Now it's time for Name That Tune. First person to get both the name of the band and the song title correctly in the comment section will have their comment pinned to the top of it. Thank you all so much for coming out and watching this. If you'd like to get in touch with me, shoot me a comment in the comment section below or check out our Facebook group I call the After Party. Gives you the opportunity to share your rides, stories, experiences, and pictures. Anything car related on that site. I wish that YouTube would get to a point where we can share pictures on here. That's what that is. If you have anything cool and you would like to share it. If you're interested, it'll be linked in the description as well as my email address. For those that don't have Facebook and would still like to reach me, send me an email. And I really do appreciate all the support. And until next time, toodaloo!